This
just in everyone's
conference will
time.
now be recorded.
Okay, so welcome everybody. Thank you so much for joining us at the Leveraging Your Benefits from Missouri AWWA. My name is Jenny Doyle. I'll be giving you a presentation. We're going to kind of walk through some of the basics of how the organizations are structured, what are we doing here, what are our ultimate goals, and then help you kind of navigate where you can find some of those static benefits that exist all the time that are available for you online, and then also talking through how you can get more engaged by volunteering in one of our many committees that we have to offer. And please, at any time, feel free to type in the chat any questions you've got. I've got it pulled up, or unmute yourself or raise a hand and jump right in. Meant to be interactive. I don't know everyone's background, how long you've been members, what you have or have not done with the section in the past, but we'll go through a couple of slides that'll give us a bit of an introduction of what have you gotten yourself into, because there's a lot of opportunity with AWWA, but I truly believe what you put into it is what you get out of it. So we're going to go through a couple of examples of what that is. So from the top, AWWA is the largest organization of its kind. We've got 4,300 utilities that are about 80% of America's drinking water systems. So we cover large systems. Most large systems are members of AWWA. A lot of small systems are part of AWWA, and we're broken into 43 different sections. So you can see Missouri section is a standalone state, but we have other sections that are combinations. Sometimes it's two states, sometimes it's a group like Southwest section or Rocky Mountain section. So we have a lot of other very similar organizations that are managed individually that make up this whole AWWA package. One of the biggest benefits I think that everybody would agree on is how you stay informed as a member of AWWA. We have a great weekly email that comes out from information at awwa-mo.org. And if you have not been receiving those emails or you're not seeing them, you haven't noticed them, please reach out, let us know. They may be hidden in junk email or somewhere otherwise kind of hidden from you. One of the other big benefits of AWWA, of your membership that you get, is the award-winning publications that we offer. JAWA, I think most everyone has heard of JAWA. OpFlow, which is really aimed at operations day-to-day, very helpful, kind of minuscule stuff. Then we also have the Show Me magazine that comes out quarterly. So that's our Missouri publication that anybody is welcome to write an article, submit technical content to go in there. It's a really good local resource that we have. There's also a ton of technical resources. So these are all of the standards that AWWA publishes. As a member, you get a discount for these things, and a lot of training and other activities are available for you online. There's also a ton of online resources, different tools for different issues that you may be seeing if you're not, there's all kinds of asset management tools, different things that AWWA is constantly putting out to stay on top of what are utilities dealing with right now, and what do they need help with right now. Advancing your career is another excellent benefit for being an AWWA member that we're focusing on how that comes in through conferences. So ACE, the annual conference exhibition, is the big conference that we put on. There's also utility management conference, all kinds of specialty conferences that AWWA sponsors, co-sponsors, and puts on across the country every year. We have our biggest event that we do as the section is the Missouri Joint Conference. So we do that with our wastewater partners, or MWEA, and that is coming up again in March of next year. So we're a bit off of our regular schedule this year thanks to COVID, but we are getting back into the March 2022 at Margaritaville down in Lake of the Ozarks. So if you have been before, you know it's a pretty standard event. We do it very well every year, lots of technical content, a lot of great opportunities to meet and mix and mingle with other folks. So hopefully we'll be able to see you at one of those. We also offer webinars and a lot of e-learning. So that's both at the association or the national AWWA level, but also in Missouri. So we have a lot of excellent content that came out during the last year and a half or so of virtual learning opportunities. And then, of course, volunteer opportunities, which we'll really dig into a bit later, of how many different committees there are and opportunities to get your hands on in the section. Making connections. So part of what you pick up, I think one of the main reasons most folks go to conferences is to make connections and network. And we are offering a lot of both virtual and in-person events coming up. This is just kind of a short table of some of the things that you can see. We've got an ongoing leadership series right now that we have that are all virtual. You can see the Lead Yourself First coming up in a couple of weeks, and then we have Courageous Conversations. Those are being put on as a joint effort between Missouri and the Illinois section. So these are just different activities that we have coming up that you're able to join. I think probably the most fun are coming up our membership appreciation events. So we'll be hosting those in both St. Louis and Kansas City areas. Those are just meant to be welcome to the section, mix and mingle with other members. There's not like an educational component. It is truly just a networking opportunity that we're excited to be able to offer in person this year. So hopefully if you are near to one of these areas, you'd be able to join us, and all of that information is online. I'll probably reference back to the website quite a few times throughout this presentation. So I can show you that. This might be a good segue in here. If you go to awwa-mo.org, this is an excellent, this has got everything that we're doing. It is up to date. You can come in and see upcoming events, and that'll show you both the St. Louis Membership Appreciation Invite and the Kansas City Member Appreciation Invite. So these are just really great ways to meet people in your area in person. We also are pretty active on LinkedIn. We also have a Facebook page. There's other ways to keep touch. In terms of leveraging your member benefits, for sure, coming to events is one of the best tools that you can use. So I know everyone's feeling a bit of virtual fatigue. We are excited to be offering in-person events. Hopefully you can make one or the other. Another great benefit is making a difference. So I think most everybody in the water industry already has a bit of a philanthropic heart or a gesture of goodwill. But we work very closely with Water for People. Almost all of our fundraising events will go either to Water for People, which provides clean drinking water and sanitary services across the world. But then we are also working with Water Equation. It's a relatively new AWWA initiative where you've got these 4 categories. We offer operator scholarships, which is a really wonderful tool for furthering education and getting resources to some of the smaller systems that may not be able to quite otherwise facilitate that. We also offer student scholarships, young professional leadership training, and then community engineering core, which you can sort of think about as Water for People, but domestically. So it's offering engineering services and other advice for smaller systems that couldn't otherwise afford that. Making a difference can also mean advocating for water policy, because that very much impacts our day-to-day operations and how we go about our business. So AWWA has an office in Washington, D.C. that is meant to stay close to what's happening there at a legislative level. But we also have an event every year called the DC Fly-In, where we have an opportunity to send professionals to go meet with local representatives. And we have a couple of committees that are also dedicated to monitoring water policy and keeping up with that traffic. We also offer scholarships at the local level. So this Water Equation is a national effort. We have a couple of one operator scholarships that have been awarded locally. So both in Kansas and can't remember if we've had a Missouri winner recently, but these are all national level efforts, but we do our best to replicate them at the section or the state level. And then you may or may not know, but we do have a variety of membership types. I would just presume that most of you guys are individual members, which comes with a full suite of benefits of what you can access online. But we also have utility memberships, which are really popular. And with that utility membership, based on the size or your numbers of service lines, you'll have a couple of individual memberships kind of folded within that utility membership. Same for service providers. So that's a lot of our manufacturers, consultant types would have a service provider membership and a number of individual memberships that can get folded into that depending on their size. The young professional membership is a really wonderful option for newcomers. So we define young professionals as 35 years or younger or 10 years or less in the business. So we see people that move into the water industry at any point in their career, and we consider anybody within 10 years of starting to work within the water industry as a young professional. So that helps really kind of orient you and gives you a lot of good access to understanding how the industry works. In your first year, it's a much reduced membership fee, so it's definitely worthwhile. We also offer student memberships. The Missouri section actually comps our student membership. So if you know any students that are interested in the water field, I would highly encourage you either put them in contact with me or have them look into this, because we can get them a student membership at no cost to them. And this is kind of last point I'll make here is a bit of an undercover item, is that you can have a multiple section membership. That's a bit, you have to work with AWWA directly, but you can get some discounts if you want to be a member of both Missouri and Kansas sections because you happen to live in Kansas City and do business in both places, or whatever your special circumstances should be. So there are some kind of bundling opportunities that you have in terms of membership. So I'll take a quick pause there. I just wanted to point out one other thing, is that a lot of people, I think, miss out on some of the benefits that AWWA offers just because they don't have their preferences set up. Sometimes you'll start off and you'll get overwhelmed by how many emails AWWA can send you if it's pre-marked to say you're interested in everything. So I would encourage you, if you haven't done it before, or you haven't done it in a while, go to awwa.org, go back to your account and sign in. If you have any trouble, you should be able to reset your password, or if that's giving you trouble, reach out to us and we can help kind of get you back online. But go back to your account, go to your preferences, edit down what you want to see, what you want to get. If you don't want to get hard copies of the journal, you can have just a digital copy. All of those are options that you can do to tailor your membership experience of what you're getting out of it. That'll, I think, probably improve your satisfaction with your membership overall. I'll take a stop here and see if anybody has any questions or comments just on AWWA, what kind of big picture things we have to offer, how to get into your account, stuff like that. Seeing none. Okay, we'll go through who's who at the zoo. So this is more of our local Missouri AWWA focus. You see, this is our board from the last conference that we had. Everybody's happy wearing t-shirts because it was nice and warm this particular conference. This I want to give you a bit of an overview of how we are structured at the state section, and then we'll go through different committees and ways that you can get involved pending what your interests are. So our voting board is made up effectively of our executive committee and a group of trustees. Each of these voting board members is responsible or has direct contact with a number of committees. So for example, if the magazine committee chair was not able to attend a board meeting, then our assistant secretary treasurer, Nick, would take care of that, report out and kind of be their advocate, help them get oriented to the section and what they should be doing as their rules and roles. We do have our chair online, Mike Linder. I myself am chair-elect, but also your membership chair. And Bob Parks is our vice chair, is also on the line. We've got all of these roles function as kind of stewards of the organization, making sure that everything's going forward. Individually, we're responsible for things like the budget and strategic plan and all the different parts and pieces that make the whole section move. Our director role is really the direct line back to the association level. So remember, there were 43 different sections. Each of those sections has a director that sits on the board of directors for the national level organization. And Randy serves as our best communication point back and forth from AWWA at the national level to keep us informed of what they're thinking of and to feed back to them what it is that we would like to see. We also have a split secretary treasurer and assistant secretary treasurer that handle the finances of our organization. They are probably two of the more underrated but absolutely necessary positions that we have on the board. And then we keep the past chair around definitely for at least another year of service to help us through the nominating process to bring in new board members as we go through. We have a group of 6 trustees, so each serves, 2 of them serve a 3-year term. This turns over at the annual conference. So if you've ever been to the Monday business lunch and seen a bunch of people stand up and raise their right hand and repeat an oath, these are those folks for the most part. All of our trustees are fantastic points representative of the industry. So we try to keep a good mix of utility members, MAC members, different points of view, and a different geographical representation. Similar to the executive committee, all of these trustees have a number of committees that are assigned to them. They help kind of orient them, keep them on track, give them all the resources that they need, answer any questions that they have. So this is the high level of how we're structured, and in a minute we'll go through each of these different committees individually, because when I say there is no shortage of interest that you can have, and there's no shortage of things you can do in this organization, I mean it. There is something for everybody. Our committees are absolutely the backbone of this operation. We're volunteer-led, and it's a volunteer organization, and so we are always looking to onboard new people. And if you want to be involved, if you want to get what I would say the best out of your membership as you possibly can, being on a committee, being in an active role in a committee is one of the best things that you can do, because you'll really feel the benefits. You'll be networking directly with a lot of people, and you'll actually be able to feed back into it, which would be fantastic. So we've broken this out in a couple of different categories based on your interests. If you are looking for something that's more technical based or something that's more social based, we've got it all. We also have this volunteer form for us at the section level. So if you come in here and you go to the membership header and you go under new volunteer sign up, that'll take you to this form where you can fill out your kind of basic information. What are you interested in? You can select specific committees or not. You can also reach out to committee chairs directly. You don't have to go through the form, but this is a really nice way to kind of get oriented and give us a chance to reach out to you from a couple of different perspectives to see what it is that you want to do. So I'm not going to read all of this text to you. I know it's a lot, but I'm just going to highlight a couple and talk through the different committees, how they operate, and what you could potentially do. So some of these committees are active year-round. So YPs, Young Professionals, is constantly putting on events. They're doing virtual events. They're doing in-person events. Membership tries to do things year-round, and then some of these are very specific for an event. So depending on how much time and effort you have, you can kind of choose to scale regarding what you're looking for. So for example, Drinking Water Week, that focuses around the first week of May. And so that's a one time a year kind of activity. You plan ahead of time, and then your events happen, and then that committee kind of goes dormant until it's Drinking Water Week again. Different things like philanthropy happens year round, and there's also a lot of kind of cross connection that happens between these committees. So membership and Young Professionals work together quite often. A lot of the philanthropy events happen at the conference, which is the biggest event that we put on. But as we showed earlier in the websites and in the emails that we get, there's always something going on, and you can keep up to date with different events. Like our most recent one was the Model Water Tower competition. This is our kind of lead volunteer, star volunteer right now, Bridget Gray. She helped as part of like the diversity committee and Aistine Village in Kansas City. We're looking to do a reciprocal event in St. Louis. And so there's always opportunities not only to continue events that we have done successfully, but we partner with other organizations often, and we are always looking for new events and new activities. So there's no end of what you can do, especially from the like social engagement perspective. These are some of the more technical based committees. So a lot of our utility members, I think, are kind of drawn towards this side because it's very pertinent to what they do in their day-to-day in terms of training, small systems. The Water Utility Council, or WUC, is very popular and is a pretty robust group. So that's always a good, it's nice to have committees that are more than a singular person, which unfortunately we do have sometimes, is a committee of one. We don't really want that. Ideally, we'd like to have larger committees with a lot of volunteers, because you'll see a lot of repeated names here in the chair category. And I think there's point being is that there's always opportunity for more people to be participating. This is our main event that we put on, is the joint annual conference. So we have Bob Parks on the line as our annual conference manager, and I'm sure he could speak to you on how many hands it takes to make the wheels turn on this conference. But there's a lot of opportunities to volunteer here. We are just beginning planning for the March conference coming up. So this is something that is of interest to you. If you've attended this conference in the past and you said, wow, that looks really great, but I think we could do something a little bit differently, and you want to get involved with that, now is a wonderful time to raise your hand and get involved. Going through from a technical programs committee standpoint, which is something that I'm involved in really heavily, but we also have a lot of the on-site kind of coordination items. There's just a long list of things to do for the conference, and a lot of different committees that feed into that. Some of the other ones in this particular category are maybe not so fun for new volunteers, like bylaws and procedures. That's pretty in the weeds. Budget, pretty in the weeds. Audit, pretty in the weeds, but there's a lot of really good opportunities to get your hands on and to meet a lot of people in working with the conference preparation group. If you've been, you know, it takes a lot of effort from the Manufacturers Council side in terms of the exhibit hall, in terms of local arrangements and all of the events that go on. It's a lot of effort that goes into there. We also try to put a lot of awards. We've been trying to improve and increase how many awards that we're giving out at our conference, which is the last category of committees that I've kind of summarized here. We do scholarships, we're doing operations awards. There's a lot of service awards, so 10-year awards and things like that. There's some professional awards, and of course the Fuller Award is a big and ongoing national level award that we have. So I'll stop there. Actually, I'm going to go back up a couple slides. Does anybody have any questions on these? Any comments? Anything, any experiences with these committees in the past that you'd like to share for the betterment of the group? Hearing none. Okay, if none of those seemed attractive to you, don't worry, there's more. So at the national level, AWWA, there are I used to know the number, but there are many ways to get involved. They also have a volunteer sign up form that you can do that will also kind of help you navigate the weeds of that. We have 6 major councils which have subcommittees and different associated groups that may or may not be of interest to you. So International Conference Council, Members Manufacturers Associates Council, MAC. You may have heard me say that quite a few times. And if at any point I've said any kind of acronym that doesn't make sense to you or you're not familiar with, please ask. There's a lot of inside lingo. So MAC is our Manufacturers and Associates Council. Public Affairs, Standards, Technical and Education Committee, and the Water Utility Council, WUC. So there's one at the national level as well as our local level. And our own Bob Parks serves on the national WUC as well. So it's always a great thing to see our volunteers at the local section level be engaged at the national level as well. So I've mentioned this a couple of times. There's a ton of resources available online for both our website and the association's website. You can also reach out to any of our board members or committee chairs. Hopefully you may or may not know some of them interpersonally. And if you come up to the About section on the Missouri website, you can come see all of the board listings. So here's all of our beautiful faces. Bob no longer looks like this, but that's okay. And a contact information for everybody. So if you had a question about what does a trustee role look like, or I'm interested in helping with the finances, you could reach out to Tony and Nick. We also have a similar page for our committee chairs. So you could come through here and scroll down and find which of these committees makes most sense for you, and reach out to these folks directly. And of course, Mary Odom's on the call right now. Anytime you have questions at all, you can reach out to Mary. She's our administrative manager. She is the keeper of the keys, knows everything, and can get you in contact with the right people for sure. And that is the end of the structured presentation that I have for you. I wanted to kind of open up the floor, and I'm not going to call on people directly, but I would love it if anybody would be willing to unmute and maybe share what brought you to this call. What are you interested in? What are you looking for? Did your employer encourage you to come here? Have you been told to get involved? Because that is often a starting place for a lot of our volunteers, is they've been thoroughly encouraged by somebody else. So open the floor to anybody that wants to share or ask any questions at this time. Nothing? Did a perfect job? No questions left? Everything AWWA has to offer is clear and understood?
Hey, Jenny, hey, this is James Ricker from Graybar. Great presentation today. You know, we are a new member at a national level. I'm based here in St. Louis myself. I think the biggest thing I've been looking for is ways we can better participate, engage with other members of AWWA as well as the other committees. And Mary, I sent you a note as well in the chat. I've already sent in my form locally, and I'm looking forward to participating in some capacity that makes sense on a committee and getting better engaged. think that's the biggest thing is how we can network and really work with your association more as a new member.
Fantastic. And there's, from a MAC perspective, there's always opportunities for sponsoring events, for hosting events. YPs really love tours, factory tours, anything that you have to offer that is kind of hands-on educational. Our young professionals and our education team are always interested in that. There's also a lot of information or I guess opportunities from an exhibit standpoint. So if you are not exhibiting and you want to, or if you want to just kind of help facilitate some of that, you have some ideas you'd like to feed back into that group, there's a lot of opportunities to engage from that perspective as well.
Great. I think we will take all of the above for that. We love training. We've got good demo centers for that. Looking forward to exhibiting and any engagement we can.
Yeah.
Barry, I will take advantage of that joint conference application as well. Thank you.
Yeah, that's actually a great reminder that we did extend the submittal window for the joint annual conference that's coming up in March. So by Friday will be the final pencils down date for abstracts to submit. So thank you for that. Keisha, I think you were unmuting for a moment there. I don't want to discourage you.
I was, and then James stepped in, and I was like, okay, someone said something. But hi, my name is Keisha Akamuladu, and I work for Black and Veatch. Jenny does a great job of advertising and sending out information about AWWA events here at Black and Veatch, and so I'm always trying to find time to do more with AWWA, and then the extra push of, you should really get involved with AWWA, Keisha, was kind of like the icing on the cake. And so here I am learning more about what AWWA has to offer and how I can be more involved.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. And I'd also just kind of really encourage you, if there is time constraints on what you can and cannot do, there are a number of different, you can just participate in one event throughout the year. So say you wanted to join the Young Professionals Committee, but you only have really capacity to do one thing throughout the year, that's fine. That's very good. That's very welcomed. If you can take the lead on one happy hour or one training event, or whatever it should be, whatever you have capacity for, that's what we want to do. I think volunteer burnout is hard because it's been a hard couple of years with the pandemic and everyone's just tired of the virtual content. And so we're trying to fumble our way through how to get back in person. But whatever is in your capacity is what we will happily take. Anybody else? Any other questions? Any other things you want to see on the website, how to navigate to things, stuff you've looked for in the past but couldn't find, perhaps? That's always pretty cool feature. Bob or Mike, as very strong volunteers in the organization as well, would you have anything you'd want to share with our group here today?
Sure. I've been with AWWA for 25 years, been with the Missouri section for over 22. Great opportunities. Water is finally getting its due of support with the new 1.3 infrastructure bill. There's money that's going to be available with the lead and copper, with PFAS, emerging contaminants. It's going to be exciting times, and we're going to need the support to maintain public health in the water industry, and also to help the legislations that comes up with these new regulations that utilities, vendors, engineers have to help the utilities obtain. So AWWA has the resources to lobby, and with, as what Jenny said, a lot of the there's a lot of research that AWWA does on behalf of water to ensure that the right standards, regulations, manufacturers are providing quality work or quality equipment, quality control, so that way we can still rely on the fact that here in the United States we have some of the safest waters in the world. But it's an excellent opportunity to get involved, whether it's networking with other utilities, networking with vendors, suppliers, engineers. It is a betterment of trying to bring to forefront that water isn't something easy. It's a hard task, and a lot of people behind the scenes don't get recognized for what water has been doing over the centuries to keep it safe. So thank you. Back to you, Jenny.
Well, this is a long and short of it. There's a lot of information that is available to you, and sometimes it can be challenging to narrow that down. And truly, just getting your feet wet with a committee, I think, is a wonderful way to get involved. So, hopefully, something on that list sparks some interest or passion of yours that's part of this water industry. We're all here for a reason, and I think we all want to give back in our own ways. So. I just encourage you to fill out the volunteer form, ask questions. You don't have to jump right into a full-sized volunteer position. You can just come to a board meeting. We have them, we've been doing them virtually. You can just ask around, ask people that have been doing it for a while and see what would work for you. So without any other questions, that is the end of my spiel today. So thanks everybody. And if at any point you'd like to reach out and have any other discussions, don't hesitate to reach out to myself or Mary or anybody that you may know that's already part of this organization.
Great. Thanks, team. Great presentation. Look forward to working with you.
Same. Thanks, James.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. You guys have a good day.